talking about something went out the other day, and members of the Manx Bat Group are always very active, obviously looking after the Manx bat population on the Isle of Man, and some surveys coming up, counting bats coming to maternity roosts. Perhaps just starting off, for people who don't know anything about the bats on the Isle of Man, how many species have we got? What, but 7, 8, something like that?
They're up to 9 now with the last year's discoveries. That's the horseshoe down south. Yeah,
That's quite a
quite
rare
exciting. They declined quite considerably in the UK, but they seem to be on the increase again now. What we don't down there in Ireland, and always have been, what we don't quite understand yet is if they ever were here, that there are anecdotal comments from years ago that indicate they might have been. Whether they've always been here and we've never come across them, or if they've recently come back, we're not entirely sure.
So to the untrained eye, these 9 different species of bat, would you be able to tell the difference between them? Or do you have to get really close to them?
You have to be really pretty good. It's some of them, just from what they're doing. Leisla's bat always comes out very early and flies quite high, strong, fast flyer. So that's always a reasonable guess if you see one very early in the evening. Pipistrels are usually zigging back and forwards around the hedges and things, but there's 3 now. A couple of years ago we found a new species of pipistrel, so you couldn't say exactly which one it was. So you really need one of the new modern detectors to help you identify them.
I was going to say that's something which, obviously, if you go along with the Manx Bat Group members, you'll probably be able to have a go at. And these detectors, in essence, sort of get the echolocation sounds the bats are making, and they're all at slightly different frequencies.
Yes, well, when 60s, 70s, bat detectors were sort of first available to the ordinary person, and they were what were called tunable heterodyne ones. But now we've got basically computerized automatic ones which will tell you the frequency without you having to try and tune into what you think is the strongest signal.
No, that sounds like my sort of machine, yes. Anything that's vaguely automated.
Yeah.
So coming up on these surveys then, so we're talking about actually sort of doing maternity roost surveys. So this is people literally going out, going to where they know the bats have their maternity roost and just counting the numbers coming in and out.
Yes, that's right. We've got about over 200 roosts that we know of on the island. We know we've lost a proportion of those, but we try to take part in the UK's National Bat Monitoring Programme, which is a long-term count in essence, to work out whether bats are declining or increasing, the different species, or holding their own. And we're told you need to do about 40 roosts as a minimum statistically to get that result over the long term. So that's what we're sort of aiming to get to. And we'll be going out from June the 6th for about 3 weeks, looking at various roosts of different volunteers. So if you see somebody standing at the side of the road holding a little box, that's probably what they're doing, not sizing up for nefarious reasons.
What sort of places do actually bats like to roost when it comes to their maternity roost then?
Well, everybody has this idea of bats in the belfry, and that we're always told, that old ruined farm, whatever. But in fact, they much prefer modern houses. They like it nice and warm and dry and draft free. And that we have had instances where they've moved into a house before it's even been finished being built.
Wow.
So they're quite hardy then?
Well, in a way, but they're very small and delicate as well. So
what should you do if you discover that you do have bats?
Let us know and enjoy having them. They don't cause any problems in houses. They're not like rodents that might chew through your cables. They're not like birds that bring nesting material in. The only issue occasionally is droppings in the attic, and if you use your attic to store your suitcases and things, you might be dropping scattered about. But these are actually quite dry. They're only the crushed up skeletal remains of insects. So there's no real issues with having bats, and we hope that people will enjoy having them and let us know so that we can continue to keep looking after them.
And of course, we should say they're all protected as well, of course.
Yes.
So should we be looking to encourage them into our homes then, if that's the case? Might it help the population? And if so, is there a way to do that?
Well, bat boxes are very popular. Not entirely sure of the efficacy of them, but some do get occupied. People do put them up on their houses. I don't think we could quite go to the extent of say, well, just move that tile there and give them access into your loft. So bat boxes is probably the solution for anybody who wants to try, but there's no guarantee. It's not quite as predictable as bird boxes. The bats will choose either to come and use it or not. It's up to them.
So these surveys getting underway, as you say, this coming weekend, I think, and then going on for 2 or 3 weeks?
Yes, the protocol with the UK's national one is that you count each roost twice in 2 10-day periods. So it's quite time consuming for us volunteers. But then once that's out of the way, we'll be checking other roosts that we know of. And some of them we need to identify what species of bat they are. Others, some of the important ones, we just need to know that they're still in use and nothing's happened to them.
We just had a message in from Jason and Joe, who say that normally at this time they would be on island marshalling at the Mountain Mile, because of course it would normally be TT at this time, and they're missing that. So they said not missing the mountain weather, and they'll see us all next year. But I wonder, because now would be TT normally, do the bats get affected by that, by sort of like the increasing population, by the noise, by the noise pollution as such? Does it affect them at all?
I wouldn't have thought so. I can't specifically answer that. And by the time bats come out, half 9, 10 at night this time, it's mostly died down unless the races have been drastically delayed.
Yeah.
They might enjoy the rock music on the prom.
Well,
you never know.
And I was thinking the other way around. I was thinking, obviously, we've had lockdown going on for the best part of the last 18 months or so. Any evidence to suggest that's been beneficial for bat numbers, or too early to say?
I think it's possibly too early to say. I think that the only effect we've really noticed is the cold, long spring, and bats hadn't really moved into their maternity roosts yet, as we would have expected them to, but it's a week or so later than I've been out looking, so hopefully they have started now and they will be there for the volunteers to count.
Fingers crossed. You say volunteers. Now, anyone listening would like to get involved, can they help out? Can they get in contact with the Bat Group and come along and sort of learn?
Yes, absolutely. And that's what we're about. And we always need more helping hands and ears. So we do have a website, which is manxbatgroup.org, which has membership details on it. Or there's a email address there for people to just send in any records of any bats or notify us of any roosts. But we're certainly always on the lookout for more members, and come along onto one of our meetings, which again you'll find on our website, and join in and learn all about bats.